it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, November 24th. So today we do have the moon in Aries, going void, of course, at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be locking into Taurus energy at 3:29 p.m. So, of course, the transition anytime from Aries energy to Taurus energy, definitely a little bit of a pump of the brakes. Of course, we have a lot of rapid emotions, rapid thoughts, rapid ideas, a different mood, a different attitude, a little bit more aggressive, if you will, with the moon in Aries energy. And when we shift into Taurus energy, we kind of pump the brakes. We need to slow things down. We want to be a little bit more present. We're a little bit more controlled with our energy. We're actually more about kind of resting, rejuvenating, kind of acting as the observer, instead of kind of pushing for things to happen or pushing for things to come to life. Of course, going from a fire energy to an earth energy, we slow the pace, we slow the roll, we come a little bit more aware of our physical environment, of our physical body, what it is that we need in order to kind of nurture and nourish ourselves. It definitely is an adjustment. We are going to feel, especially at the first part, like we hit a brick wall, so to speak, but that's okay. We need to slow our pace, slow our roll. We have to become more present. We have to stick in the here and now instead of constantly looking back and, in this case, pushing forward. Now, we are in Sag season. We also have Mars, the god of war, moving into Sag energy here today as well. Go ahead, listen to that astro forecast if you haven't already. But it's definitely going to be a good energy for the moon to be in this fixed earth sign and Taurus energy to stabilize us, to keep us present, to keep us anchored and grounded as this fire energy really kind of gets started, gets kind of pumping, and pushes us into new urges, into new impulse that, of course, we shouldn't be taking action upon until the new information, the new details get revealed under that full moon in Gemini. So there are 11 different aspects taking place here today. 8 of them are going to involve the moon. We have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves in Sagittarius energy. So big ideas, rapid thoughts, bouncing all over the place, little bit of an ADHD squirrel brain, if I do say so myself. Mercury is going to be interacting with Uranus. So Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury rules over our lower level intellect, very connected to our egoic realm. We're bringing information, data, statistics in from our physical environment. We're adding logic and practicality to it. We're trying to make sense of it. We're forming thoughts, ideas, and opinions. And that's how we come to actually express ourselves, communicate, if you will, our inner realm to the outer world. Well, Uranus is the higher form of Mercury, which means that Uranus is connecting to the higher realms of intelligence. This is where we receive ideas, inspirations, aha moments, epiphanies, if you will, that then we bring down into the lower level intellect. We apply that logic and practicality to it. We kind of wreck our brains over it. We formulate a path, a plan, a strategy on how it is that we want to bring some of these ideas, epiphanies, inspirations to life. And that's how we essentially manifest and start bringing things into form. Well, Uranus is retrograde in Taurus energy right now, trying to show us where it is that we're essentially blocking ourselves from creating a new physical realm, from creating the change and transformation that we want to see take place in our own self-worth, self-confidence, in our routines, our relationship matters, our money matters, our long-term goals. Uranus is highlighting where it is that we're fearing change, resisting change, being the block to our own progress, our own productivity. This should be illuminating for us where it is that we do have some fears, doubts, and insecurities of letting go of some of the elements, some of the aspects that our old version of self had created, because we're not quite trusting enough in our new belief system that the universe is going to deliver something better than what it is that we're currently holding on to and afraid to let go of. This is not the best interaction. So instead of getting an aha moment, a breakthrough, an epiphany, gaining clarity, what this is going to do is kind of put us in a little bit of a funk where confusion is going to reign supreme. It's very unclear what it is that we should be doing now. And again, many of us stuck between two very extreme, very different choices, different options, different directions, different paths. This confusion is necessary. The push and pull between these two things is necessary. This will be resolved with an illumination of information and details that are currently hidden away from your view, from your knowledge. This will be illuminated under the full moon in Gemini. That is the breakthrough point. That is the clarity point. That is the choice point. So it makes sense that we have to be sitting in confusion. We have to be torn between two different things as we approach the full moon in Gemini. So things are very unclear. The path is unclear. The directions are unclear. The instructions on how to get there is unclear. The plan, the strategy, very unclear. We need to sit in this confusion. We need the push and pull in order for us to figure out what our higher selves want us to pursue. So this is going to create a lot of mental fogginess, a lot of chaos in the mental plane, very disorganized thoughts, very disorganized vision, dream. It is going to be a super, super tough challenge to gain any kind of clarity, insight, even understanding within ourselves and in conversation with other people. We're not going to be received as we want to be received. Again, creating communication and conversation breakdowns. This is a time where we have to watch for pushing ourselves to make a choice or to decide, all in the name of just getting it over with. We do not want to do this. We're approaching a full moon in Gemini energy that is going to give us the clarity, the choice point in which we're currently confused and currently sitting in. And so this particular energy needs to kind of get us in a funk, in a state of confusion, in a state of disorganization, in order for us to be prepared for this epiphany, for this aha moment. But definitely do not push yourself to make any kind of decision, any kind of choice point just to get it over with, just to kind of align so you can stop thinking about it, because you are going to create more of a mess for you to kind of clean up than anything else. We need this full moon in Gemini to provide us the information, details, and clarity that we're currently lacking. So the moon in Aries energy is going to be making a positive interaction with Mars. Now, keep in mind, I'll give you some digits to kind of consider here. This is 5:11 a.m. Again, Eastern Standard Time, that the moon and Mars are going to come together and make a little bit of an interaction. Why is this important, you may ask? Well, first of all, Mars rules over the Aries energy that the moon is in. So this is a pretty powerful burst of energy, a shift in our mood and our attitude. But even more than that, Mars is at the 29th critical crisis degree of his rulership in Scorpio energy. Because at 5:15 a.m., 4 minutes later, that's when Mars is going to move into Sagittarius. So you best believe we're feeling jittery. We're feeling that anxiety. We're feeling the impulse, the urgency to take action and make moves. That restlessness is building within us. But the moon interacting with Mars, this is giving us a hype-upped energy. We are getting hyped up. We're getting fired up. We're inspired. We're motivated. We're determined. We want to move forward. We may not know what that looks like, but we want to do it nonetheless. We are building in our willpower, in our discipline, in our perseverance. We know that we are going to face some obstacles and challenges by trying to initiate this brand new chapter, this brand new path, direction that we're currently, debating the pros and cons on. So having the moon interact with Mars in this way, definitely putting some serious pep in our step. And then, like I previously mentioned, 5:15 a.m., Mars will be moving into Sagittarius energy. Go ahead, listen to the astro forecast that I put out there so that you understand what it is that we're working with until January. Okay, this is carrying us right into the new year. This is a very, very powerful force that if you use this energy to the best of your ability, you are going to have major, major progress take place over the next month and a half-ish. If you're scatterbrained, if you don't have a goal, don't have a focus, it's going to be a little bit harder to be a little bit productive, but you will definitely be dipping your toe in a lot of different ideas, a lot of different projects, trying to experiment, explore, and discover what path is actually meant for you. I am going to recommend that you go ahead, you download the Sagittarius Season E-Guide as well. You flip to the page that, Mars is making this transitional move into Sagittarius, and really capture not only what's going on for you right now, but where it is that anger, frustration, excitement, passion, desire, where those particular fuels are actually bubbling up, pushing you to make a change, to make a transformation. Shortly thereafter, we're going to have the moon in Aries come up to, bump into, team up with the North Node in Aries, which also means that there is an opposition to the South Node in Libra energy. So let's unpack this for a second. First of all, we kind of have to understand that the moon in alignment with the North Node in Aries. Keep in mind, the North Node in Aries is our soul path. That's the path that we need to get on. That is the next chapter of our mission, of our purpose. We are trying to get on the right path. It is requiring us to kind of detach, disconnect from some of the relationship dynamics that we've been too closely intertwined to, codependent on to a certain degree. Again, South Node in Libra. The South Node in Libra is what is old, tried, tested, and true, what is familiar, what is comfortable, especially in relationship dynamics, but even more than that, with the people-pleasing qualities that we're looking to collapse at this point in order to set ourselves free, to be a little bit more independent, taking the leadership role in our lives, doing what we have to do for ourselves, instead of constantly putting our own wants, needs, and desires on the back burner in order to make other people happy. So the moon kind of aligning with the North Node in Aries, this is a good energy. This is putting us in a situation and a circumstance where we're starting to see what that independent path actually looks like, what the path of our highest passion, our highest desires, what it is that our higher self is asking us to pursue, where that is becoming a little tiny bit more clear. Now, again, we're not going to gain the kind of clarity that you're hoping for until the full moon in Gemini illuminates different pieces of information and details that we're currently missing. We need those particular pieces of information in order to paint the bigger, broader picture. So this is going to work very well for us because it's pushing us in the right direction. It's pushing us to be inspired and motivated and determined to not look back, to not go back to the things, to the people, to the situations and circumstances that we fought so hard to break free of. But the opposition with the South Node in Libran energy is going to put us in a conflict because we're going to want to go back. We're going to want to not be the villain anymore. We're going to want to just reconcile, to say whatever needs to be said in order to make the other people happy. Resist that at all costs, okay? I'm not saying go out of your way to be a meanie. I'm not saying go out of your way to be self-centered and self-absorbed. But if you have fought a certain type of fight to break yourself free of the connection, the attachment, the codependency, the intertwining of identities in a certain relationship dynamic, do not go back to it. Just hold your ground, hold the line, see what happens. We're not going back to any kind of situation or circumstance that we fought very hard to get away from. So this is definitely going to illuminate choice points. Are you going back or are you going to stand still? Are you moving forward or are you standing still? Either way, we're percolating on the path, on the plan, on the strategy that we are currently piecing together in order for us to move forward and start pursuing our wants, needs, and desires that are very individual to us. Again, that Aries energy is independence. So then the moon is going to go ahead and we're going to make an interaction with Neptune. This is a very positive interaction. Now, Neptune is retrograde in Pisces energy in his rulership. This is our dreams, our imagination, our creativity. This is also our soul contracts, our spirituality, essentially our karma. Now, lucky for us, this is a positive interaction. So what this is doing for us is first of all, is aligning us with our higher selves. We have a stronger relationship with our higher selves, with our intuition. We're able to kind of grasp a vision and a dream of what it is that's exciting us, what it is that we're kind of, pumping ourselves up in order to pursue. And because this is a positive interaction, this is like a major shift in our mood, in our attitude. We're really inspired. We're tapping into new creative force energy. We want to take action upon it. We may not know how to take action upon it, but we know that we're cultivating this fire, this flame within us that is going to be building towards a boiling point where we are going to explode with physical energy, physical action that will propel us moving forward in the right direction. The moon then interacts with the sun in a very positive way. Now, anytime that the moon and the sun are coming together, it usually triggers some sort of awareness, some sort of aha moment. We are bringing things in the unconscious realm into our awareness, into consciousness. Now, lucky for us, this is a positive interaction, and we get this positive interaction because the moon in Aries energy is a fire sign. The sun in Sagittarius energy now is a fire sign. Fire energy helps us burn away the heavy emotional weight and burn through the cords that have us attached to the past. Fire energy is rejuvenating, regenerating. It is a renewal energy, if you will. And it's very initiating. We are getting inspired. We're getting excited. We are really optimistic and confident, so to speak, without a real plan, without a real path actually being kind of clear for us. Now, the moon and the sun, they come together and they illuminate where it is that we're coming from. And typically speaking, many of us not wanting to go back to the physical realm, the circumstance, the version of self that we just kind of broke away from. And the sun shining a bright light in Sagittarius energy now is showing us where it is that we have to be moving closer to. So in Sagittarius energy, this is a new truth, new quest, new mission, new purpose. We have to be testing out new ways of doing things. We have to be pushing the boundaries of our comfort zone. And so this is a positive interaction. So there is some kind of hype taking place within us, and it is bringing forth an aha moment, a moment of awareness on what it is that we actually want to move away from and what it is that we're building excitement towards. The moon is then going to get into the boxing ring, square off with Pluto. Pluto's the great transformer. He's at the final degrees of Capricorn energy. So of course, anytime that we are seeing the moon or any other placement kind of get to those final degrees, we're going to have this sudden intensity in our emotional realm where we realize what needs to change, what needs to transform, where it is that we need to boss up, where it is that we need to step into our power, what it is that we need to take our control back over. And for many of us, this is realizing where it is that we need to boss up and step into our creator energy. That's the chapter that we're moving into. We really have to start practicing being a creator of our own reality. But of course, the square doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to highlight tension and conflict. Well, the tension and conflict that's being highlighted is the ants in our pants, the restlessness, the agitation, the frustration, even borderline anger that we're experiencing by having the lack of clarity, the lack of a plan, the lack of strategy. Now, a lot of that is because, that Aries energy just wants to take action first and deal with the fallout and the consequences later. We're not in that particular chapter of operation here. We have too many planets really pushing us to boss up, to have a little bit more discipline, more willpower, more maturity in how it is that we have to plan and structure a particular strategy in order for us to be successful. So this is going to highlight for us where it is that we're feeling blocked, where it is that we're feeling kind of restricted, held back, where we don't feel like we're in power, where we don't feel like we're in control at all. This realization, this tension, this conflict is going to illuminate where it is that we're having all of these feelings. And from that, we're going to flip the script and we're going to empower ourselves out of the not so nice thoughts and feelings that, of course, have to take place in order for us to sit in the funk and realize that we want something better for ourselves. It's at this particular point that the moon is going to go void of course. And so when the moon goes void, things get very shaky. They get unstable. They get very uncertain. We're not stabilized in any energy. We're waiting to lock into the next energy. So we have to be very, very careful with our mood, with our attitude, with our thoughts, with our interactions, because it's not setting the best tone. We're not operating from a place of stability. We're just kind of winging it until the moon locks into the next energy, which of course the moon will be locking into Taurus energy, as I previously mentioned, 3:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. About a half hour later, the moon in Taurus is going to interact, in not the nicest way, with Mars, who is fresh in the Sagittarius energy. So again, the moon in Taurus energy, it's a fixed earth sign. So we're grounded. We're very present. We're in our physical bodies. We're trying to stay in the moment. We're very aware of our physical circumstances. We're trying to slow things down. We don't want to look too far back. We certainly don't want to look too far ahead. We just want to focus on the silver linings, the pleasantries, the good, the high parts of our here and now. Mars, on the other hand, he has ants in his pants. He's in a fire energy now. He wants to hit the ground running. He wants to take action on all of these big ideas. He wants to make moves in ways that we're not technically being supported or encouraged to make as of yet. Why? Because we're lacking the information and the details that are needed, that are required in order for us to take an informed approach to some of the decisions and choices that are currently on our plate. We're not going to receive that information, those details, until the full moon in Gemini. So this interaction is putting us in a little bit of a frustrating state because there is this want, need, and desire to move forward, to get the party started. The anticipation is definitely building, but yet the moon in Taurus energy just wants to stabilize the here and now. You can't stabilize the here and now and be actively working towards bringing something new to life. You're talking about a standstill energy versus a rapid progression type of energy. Those two do not mix. So let's talk about the elemental exchange here. We have the moon in Taurus energy, a fixed earth sign. We have Mars in Sagittarius energy, a mutable fire sign. Well, the fixed energy wants to stabilize, wants to be in the here and now, wants to stay as present as possible. The mutable energy wants constant change, constant progress, constant alterations and adjustments to the here and now, so we can understand why there's a little bit of friction. What this is going to illuminate for us is where it is that there is a part of us that wants to take action and make moves, but where it is that we have to work on stabilizing our emotions, being present, being kind of grateful for what it is that we have in this current moment, instead of constantly trying to push the boundaries of what it is that we could be doing better, what it is that we can improving, what it is that we could be creating, when realistically we need a little bit of time to catch our breath. The moon in Taurus then is going to sextile, beautiful interaction, with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is in Pisces energy. So first of all, this is a positive interaction. Lucky for us, this means that we're not kind of getting a visit from Debbie Downer and Negative Nancy. What we're doing is we're taking a logical, realistic, practical approach to where it is that we want to build something new, but not taking action upon it, planning, strategizing, navigating through our thoughts, our ideas, our visions, our dreams, and coming up with a logical, practical way on how it is that we're going to start building the bridge to get us away from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. We have the new belief system with Saturn now direct in Pisces energy. Saturn is helping us to tap into a new discipline, a new willpower that we haven't had as of yet, especially when it comes to redesigning, restructuring, rearranging the physical realm that now we're realizing doesn't feel so happy-go-lucky, doesn't feel so comfortable, doesn't feel like something that we want to continue to pour into. There are alterations, there are adjustments that need to be made. So this is like a logical, practical, down-to-earth approach on where it is that some of our ideas, some of our inspirations, where creative force energy is coming in, and how within ourselves we're feeling about that, and how we can logically and practically come up with a plan, a path, a strategy on how to bring some of these visions to life. Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, now in this Sagittarius energy is going to make a very positive interaction with the North Node in Aries energy. This is fire on fire, right? So we're building the fire, the flames within us. We're cultivating this new passion, this new desire, this new urgency to take action, to get out there, to explore, to bust out of our comfort zone, to see what is possible for us now that we have reached a certain amount of healing, of growth within us. This interaction with the North Node is going to put us in a situation where maybe we could take a little bit of a small step forward. Maybe this is, researching online what would be the best situation or circumstance that you're currently kind of divided upon. Maybe you are pushing the boundaries in what it is that you want to learn. Sagittarius energy, many of us kind of going back to school, so to speak, taking online courses, diving into new topics and themes and interests. Although we're not in a physical energy type of action point, we are really seeing the wheels start spinning. There is something growing within us. There is new creative force energy that we are working with, and the action may be to sit down, to do the research, to explore the different options available to you, and to really become as well informed, again, as we approach this full moon in Gemini, as we can possibly be for making some of the choices and understanding some of the decisions that we currently have on our plate. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon interacting with the sun once again. This time, not in the nicest way, as we kind of experienced earlier on in the day. The moon, first and foremost, is in Taurus energy now, where the earlier interaction was when the moon was in Aries energy. So we're dealing with a different element. We're dealing with a different modality. We're in a different mood. We're in a different attitude. So the moon that very much represents where it is that we're coming from, our emotions, our intuition, our unconscious self, and the sun shining a bright light in Sagittarius energy. This is our life force energy. This is what it is that we need to pursue. This is an interaction to show us again how far off we are as far as our emotions, our inner realm goes, and engaging the physical body to actually take action and push ourselves, progress ourselves on a path moving forward in our exterior realms. So again, the moon in Taurus wants to stay as present as possible. The sun shining in Sagittarius energy wants to project ourselves so freaking far into the future that we don't even have a glimpse, an awareness of what is going on in our physical bodies, what's going on in our physical environments. We literally lose ourselves in imagination land with the sun shining its light in Sagittarius energy. There's nothing wrong with that. We need to dream a bigger dream. We need to capture a vision and a dream that we now want to kind of work our way towards. However, emotionally speaking, it's very overwhelming for us at this particular point in time to think about all of that. Instead, we're trying to stay as optimistic, as positive, as confident as we possibly can. We're trying to stabilize in our new emotional realm. We're trying to be aware of what it is that we need for ourselves, mind, body, and soul. We are really just not in the mood to project ourselves into the future the way that the sun and Sag would prefer us to do. So this is where the conflict is. And a lot of it is just because a lot of the ideas are very scatterbrained-ish. Sagittarius energy, we have a hard time focusing on one thing. And the Taurus energy gets very overwhelmed, especially if we're not operating from a safe and stable place within ourselves. We really don't want to push and overwhelm ourselves with a lot of new thoughts, a lot of new choices, and a lot of new options. So this isn't going to feel good, but it's going to bring into our awareness where it is that maybe we have to pull back on the reins of allowing our mental plane to project ourselves so far into the future, and where it is that we have to anchor ourselves a little bit more into this present moment in order to get a grip on how it is that we're thinking, how it is that we're feeling, and operate from a whole, complete sense of our energy, of our power.